All right, vlog day 28 of 30. It's late and I'm pretty exhausted after a long day of scuba diving. Did two dives, uh, one, two dives this afternoon, and then I just did a night dive and just got back like 10 minutes ago. Um, yeah, today's topic, again, haven't thought much of a topic, so I'll just talk about nature, being in nature. I think scuba diving is part of that as well, where when I was just doing that night dive, I was kind of thinking to myself, like, this is an incredible experience that most humans throughout human history never got the opportunity to experience. And we've figured out a way to like go underwater at 30 meters and breathe and like be like a fish, where the fish are swimming directly in front of your face. We ended up seeing a shark that was probably like I don't know, I guess like a meter and a half. That was pretty cool. Saw a bunch of crabs and shrimp. Um, but like just being in nature feels good. Like I made a conscious effort a couple years ago to spend at least a month in nature every year, just as like therapy for the soul, just like a refresher of where we came from as humans. Living in cities is so artificial. It's so like outside of our evolution that I think spending time in nature kind of just like resets your mind. There's a lot of interesting theories on spending time in nature, but one of them is that when you live in a city, there's just so much stimulation and like it like activates your a lot of your stress hormones and stuff just continuously. Even if you feel relaxed, like a car driving by is something that like our evolution, our biology would tell us like that's a threat, right? But being in nature, like, and you're just out like with all the green and all the like non-uniform shapes that like in a city you see all these buildings that are like square roads that are very straight or all these like straight lines, but in nature it's like all kind of different lines and non-uniform. And I've heard that it like affects your like nervous system and stuff. I'm sure there's like tons of effects on it, but spending time in nature is just so important. And doing scuba diving is kind of like pretty much the same thing except underwater instead of above land. And though we didn't evolve to be underwater, there's something like therapeutic or there's something like fascinating in the mind for just like being around these animals who are living underground in this like untouched territory. Um, like being under all that water and seeing all those bright fish glowing and all these other animals that come out at night and all that stuff. It's such a fascinating thing. Something that I think like everybody's lives could be benefited, like would be benefited by doing something like that at least once. But just in general, spending time in nature I think is so good. Clean air, the green, all the green, um, getting the opportunity to do some camping, stuff like that. It's just you feel so good doing it. Or if you don't feel good doing it, you always feel good after. Like if you don't feel good doing it, sometimes it can be a little bit uncomfortable because you don't have all the luxuries that we get so used to. But you adapt pretty quickly, and um, it's you feel so good after it. And the other interesting thing is whenever I spend time in nature for more than like a few days, my mind comes up with so many good ideas. Like your thoughts somehow they it like comes together and allows you to like process them. Then that enables you to understand things differently and like see things differently, and then allows me to come up with a bunch of ideas. And that always happens where like every night I'll just have all these new thoughts popping into my mind, and I'll write them down, and then get back from the trip, and then like just go through the ideas and be like, dang, I came up with a lot of cool stuff that maybe I wouldn't have come up with if I didn't spend more time in nature. And it's another thing is you like never regret having like a really cool adventure, whether it's like a really cool hike or cool camping with a lot of friends or doing scuba diving or um, whatever it is, going into the jungle, seeing some elephants or bears or whatever it is you're looking to see, or just the adventure of being out in the great outdoors. There's something like transcendental about like being being out in nature and seeing yourself as part of something bigger. I think I've always thought about this idea as like why does everyone find the sunset beautiful? Like, no matter where you go in the world, humans are always looking at the sunset and saying it's beautiful. There's something about, like, something like spiritual almost about seeing this huge object that every human that are it's built into our biology, that every human before us has seen, that like you get to see every single day, and it's just like it's stunningly beautiful. Why do people climb mountains? You know, like, why do people do all these dangerous things? There's something transcendental about being out in nature and seeing something, being a part of something bigger than yourself. It happens when you're in the ocean as well, scuba diving or snorkeling. It happens when you're camping out in the huge mountains. It happens when you're climbing in the snow. Um, it happens when you're rock climbing. Whatever it is you're doing, kayaking, all of these things, just being in nature is just like so important and so interesting, so fascinating. Um, and even if you don't, you say to yourself you don't like nature, you don't like camping, it's almost still worth doing just for the all the other benefits to it. Like, you almost always feel good when you come out of it. But I suppose, like anything, an experience is what you make it, and depending on how you look at it, completely changes the experience you have. What is it? Expectations influence outcomes. So if you try to make the most of every moment, you're more likely to have a positive outcome, which I think everybody wants in life. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. I'm gonna sleep here shortly. Got 2 more dives in the morning tomorrow. Looking forward to, and then afternoon I'll have the rest of the day off. And then after Sam and Chris, my two friends here, finish their course, I think the following day we'll perhaps do another fun dive together, which will be cool. So that'll be it. I will see everybody tomorrow.